Hello everybody, Ryker Richard here, reacting to the Toronto Raptors. 105-92 victory. We're inching closer, 2 games away from the Toronto Raptors stealing the all-time record, their all-time franchise record for most wins in a row, and it's looking favorable, given Chicago being the very next matchup, and then I believe it's Indiana. Not the most difficult opponents. Obviously, Indiana is a top 6 team in the East, so there will be a bit of a challenge there, but certainly Chicago should be a game that the boys go in and get it done, such as they did tonight. And we can start with Pascal Siakam. Ben, obviously, not on tonight's podcast, but parents are visiting him. But we'll start tonight with Pascal Siakam because he posted up 30 points. And Ben, the reason I mention him, besides being the cornerstone of this podcast, is he was very critical of Pascal Siakam last game, saying in a, for more or less, scrub game, I'm confident enough to say that it's not an amazing defensive team. They're not, they're a struggling Pistons team. We can't give them too much credit here. Pascal Siakam should be able to impose his dominance. He is an all-star starter. For goodness sake, this man, he should be able to go out there and get it done. Ben's criticism was that he just seems too passive at times, and tonight it was not the case. He didn't take as many threes. He puts up some big numbers, usually against the Detroit Pistons, especially this season so far, and only attempted 4 threes this game because he was doing it all from the mid-range, from the inside. 12 makes on 30 and 7, and 4 assists as well. And just a good all-around performance. But the guy I really want to talk about tonight, only 12 points. He's going to be the star of our highlight reel when we break it down into the segments. But Norman Powell, only 12 points, like I said tonight, but put on some razzle-dazzle, some crazy displays, some really good offensive just sets, doing it all out there. And if you were listening to tonight's broadcast, he did it again. He's had the highest plus-minus of the Toronto Raptors over their 9-game win streak. Now that'll probably extend into this 10th game win streak here. But like I said, he's over 9 games, plus 28, plus-minus, plus 18 this evening's game. And I don't want to spoil anything yet, but he had some incredible posters tonight. It seems like the Pistons always take a beating. If you'll remember when DeMar DeRozan was on the team, he had a crazy dunk against Andre Drummond, and tonight was no different. But what I think is crucial is that as we're approaching the trade deadline, and I know nobody wants to hear this, but there might be a trade in the mix, right? I don't know if we have the team that is best suited to make a true legitimate run to win the championship. And of course, I mean this in terms of the Toronto Raptors needing to be able to get past the mountain that is the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Do we have the team that is capable of taking down the Milwaukee Bucks in a 7-game series? I'm not sure. I don't know what Masai Ujiri is up to, and the way that Norman Powell has been playing over this stretch, the size of his contract, the length that's left, his age, all of these factors, I think his drafts or his trade stock has risen exponentially over the past 10-game win streak this entire season, but it's got to a point that I think he's a very preferable looking piece for any team in the league that's looking to, add one other critical guy or even build around him. And then you could throw in a complementary piece like Serge Ibaka or a Marc Gasol, a guy with a bigger contract, if you need it to balance, and you're getting a lot of value back for those guys. So I'm not suggesting that we need a trade, especially for Norman Powell the way that he's playing. I'm just saying if we're looking at moves that might be made, right, what is the possibilities that the Raptors sort of dabble in this trade deadline? I'm just saying look out for Norm because he is playing so well right now. I would say he could be potentially the most tradable piece on the Toronto Raptors right now. And I wish Ben were on with me this podcast because I'm sure that would stir up some arguments and some back and forth. The next thing I want to say is obviously congratulations to Toronto Raptors, Nick Nurse specifically, and the coaching staff. Tonight was the night that they secured the Toronto Raptors coaches being the coaching staff of the All-Star game, and they made that dream a reality. And as Kyle Lowry said the other day, he's now had the pleasure of sending 2 coaching units to be all-star coaching staffs, obviously with Dwayne Casey and now Nick Nurse. And we're scheming. That's the mindset. There's going to be a little bit of one-on-one time now for Nick Nurse and Giannis Antetokounmpo. We can plant those seeds because obviously we're looking at that big summer 2021 deadline. And let's hope that the East can get a victory here. I mean, obviously in commemoration of Kobe, there's going to be a new style for this playoffs. I sort of touched on it. There's going to be each quarter is in an independent game, and then the final quarter, the fourth, no time, a game to 24. That's what it sort of seemed like. Yeah, so that'll be interesting. But like I said, good job for the Toronto Raptors, Nick Nurse, the coaching staff, and hopefully he gets a little bit of time to talk to Giannis because we're vying for him in the offseason. And then the very next thing, the final thing before we break it down to the segments, is there was an interesting point brought up about Andre Drummond, that he is a 20-20 player, a 20-point, 20-rebound player. And there's not many players, or it seems almost fathomable that a guy putting up those numbers doesn't have any sway or any impact on the outcome of a game. And it is a bit of a perplexing conundrum to think about that stats as significant as that, to be the league leader in rebounds, to be putting up significant number of points per game, and really to have no bearing on the game, no sway, no prowess, right? Commanding very little attention. To be that consistent of a player. If Zion Williamson were out here tonight, I'm obviously pretty high on Zion, but if any other player in the league was putting up a 20-20 every single night, you would assume that player is a top player in the league, that the team is at least having a bit of success, but no. Not with the Detroit Pistons. And I don't know if it's a consequence of the environment because the rest of the team is just not very good, or if perhaps there's something weird about the way that Andre Drummond goes about getting that 20-20. You know, maybe just grabbing those easy rebounds, and the rebound stat is just overstated, right? And maybe those 20 garbage points because nobody else is scoring. I'm not sure, but it is weird if you really think about it, how insignificant 20-20, which is a fantastic stat line, is on the actual outcome of achieving wins for a team. I thought that was just some interesting conversation, an interesting point to bring up to whet the appetite. But anyways, I digress. We'll get into the segments. The spicy P-lay of the day. I talked about it. Didn't want to spoil it until now. Norman Powell. He had not 1, not 2, but 3 poster dunks. Won the fourth quarter. It was not really a poster. He got around Andre Drummond and finished it with a nasty cram, but Andre Drummond was looking for the block. No sirree, Bob. Could not get a hold of it. Then he dunked on the fast break over someone, and it's slipping my mind who that was. But the main play, he's going, I don't know if it was baseline straight on. I just remember him rising up against Andre Drummond, a true poster in all sense of the word, and yammed it. And that it was just embarrassing to watch. He almost stared him down a little bit. Norman Powell was just feeling athletic tonight. He was bouncing around the court, and it was really good to see. Like I said, only 12 points in tonight's contest, but put up some just spectacular dunks. And I really like what I've been seeing from Norm lately. But not all plays can be the spicy P-lay, and some just make you say, "Oh geez." And tonight's "oh geez," I didn't really think it through. I don't have a play in mind, to be honest with you. I could pause the podcast right now. I'm hoping in this mumble something will come to the head, but nothing. I got a good one. Detroit Pistons. I've noticed it in comments. It's very obvious when you're watching the stream with any volume whatsoever. The majority of the fans are Toronto Raptors fans, and they almost cheer louder than when it's a home game for the Toronto Raptors. You hear the chants, right? People stick around after. You see the jerseys. It's got to be embarrassing for the Pistons, the team, the coaching staff, and anybody that actually goes to watch the Pistons on how much representation and support that Toronto gets when they're in their away arena. It feels more like a home game, which is incredible. they might want to put a Raptors logo maybe in the corner or on the baseline or something just for when the Toronto Raptors arrive in Detroit, because the environment is just like a home game for the Toronto Raptors. It's absurd. It makes you say, oh, geez, you feel almost a little bit bad for the Detroit Pistons franchise and the actual fans of that team. And then finally, the one that only the DeMar Carroll Gold Star Award for worst performance of the evening. What do you think it goes to? I'm not sure. A game like this, not too many criticisms. I like what I saw from a lot of players out there. I'd like Patrick McCaw to get a few more points. Maybe if you were listening, you heard Leo Rautins. He was getting furious about the potential snub. I would definitely agree that it is a snub of Terrence Davis not getting into the Rising Stars game when really per 15 minute, he is the best rookie right now, stats-wise. And, of course, he's on limited minutes compared to some of the other guys, but there is some good arguments as to why he should be in the Rising Stars matchup, because by all sense of the word, he is a rising star. So that gets the gold star. I don't know who selects that, what the selection criteria is, but that definitely is a snub in my mind. What do you guys think? If you made this far, check out the Twitter, the Instagram, all that good stuff. Thank you guys for listening. Peace out.